In 2020 I lost my home in a wildfire and was only left with whatever I could pack up in a Ford Focus during the evacuation. I was renting a basement apartment in a country house, and most of my stuff went up in flames. I realized that my car may get good gas mileage, but it's not gonna hold a lot of stuff or tow anything. My landlord evacuated his family in a big GMC truck with a fifth-wheel trailer. He had everything he needed from emergency food storage to backup vehicles. His wife drove another truck out fully loaded with a trailer full of their stuff. They had everything they needed to survive and more. That made me realize that I needed to be better prepared. I had to couch surf for a while, and I could never stay in one place for long because I was a guest and not a tenant. So I ended up living out of a tent in a field with several other people who had also lost their homes to the fires. It was like a tent village set up by a local charity. The shelters were beyond full, and it's a warm climate. So tents were the next best way to go considering the situation at the time. I managed to get a used but decent-sized tent and basically furnished it like a tiny apartment with a cot, small table and some chairs. I even housed a poker night in it a few times, though I tried to make sure I didn't leave anything worth stealing in it when I went to work. I was still going to work almost every day, and even volunteering for extra shifts. I was saving money since I wasn't paying rent living the tent life. And I made up my mind to keep saving to one day buy a truck of my own, because if this situation with the wildfires or some other disaster ever happened again, I need to be better prepared. Move on to just a few months ago. I put down over a year's worth of savings to buy a used Chevy Silverado 1500 with a canopy already on it. It's got a few dents, and a big diagonal scratch across the hood. And the paint is a bit weather worn, but so what? It had a good bit less than 100,000 miles on it. And a list of recent repairs that included a new radiator. It spent a year living as cheaply as possible to save as much as possible. I wanted a truck, and a camp trailer in case the fires ever come back. Some people have tried to call me a hoarder for picking up stuff off the side of the road and using it. But I don't keep all that stuff at my apartment. In fact, I keep almost minimal furniture. Some remark that my apartment looks like it was just moved into as I still keep some of my stuff packed in boxes. I want to be able to pack and leave fast if I have to. Especially since the world only seems to be getting worse right now. I bought the truck, an ironically silver Silverado. I bought it off a man who looked to be in his 50s that said he has a bad back and can't use it anymore. And he gave me a steal of a deal when I came to get it by dropping the price by $1,000 because he felt I was clearly in love with it. And I am. I'm very happy with the truck. She drives like a dream. A big heavy dream, but still a dream. And she was clearly underdriven by the previous owner as it's still not at 100,000 miles. I still kept my old Ford Focus though, that way my fuel costs won't skyrocket. Now let's go to what happened a few weeks after I bought the truck. I was out in the same general area I bought the truck in to look at a used camp trailer that I was possibly interested in buying, but it ended up being in such bad shape that I turned it down because it was beyond my skills to repair. Before leaving the town I stopped to eat at a local diner. Great burgers there BW, and as I was leaving after having dinner, I noticed a woman who looked to be somewhere in her 40s looking over my truck. I'm not gonna use the term Karen to describe this person because I know two women named Karen, and they are both fantastic people. So no Karen here, but she did sort of have that look that people associate with the stereotype. I asked the lady what she was doing poking around my truck, and she gave me a side glare while demanding to know where I got it. I said I just bought it a few weeks prior. She rushed up to me and said I didn't buy it. I stole it. I told her no, I purchased it from the title owner, so that makes it mine. The lady then rifled through her purse to pull out a smartphone and scrolled through it. And then she showed a photo of a truck in it. I looked at the truck in the picture, and it'll be a monkey's uncle. It was the same truck. The license plate and scratch on the hood were clearly visible. And there was also a man in the photo, the same guy who sold me the truck. When I acknowledged this, the crazy lady started yelling see, and then demanded I return it to her. She held her hand out for the keys and kept saying to give it back. I told her I bought the Silverado fair and square off the guy in the photo, and that it is my truck now, but she didn't let up. She went and sat on my bumper and called the police. She was heavily exaggerating while talking to the operator, or dispatcher, or whatever they call the person on the line when you call 911. I'm not sure. She refused to get off my truck, so I decided to just wait it out for police to show up. When police got there I stayed completely calm, but the crazy lady went off and started working up tears and saying that her truck went missing some time ago, and she finally found it. Then she demanded they arrest me for grand theft auto and get her truck back. I just calmly unlocked the doors, got my insurance card, registration, and license to hand to one of the officers. I told them to just check my documents, and they'd see I am the legal owner. But the crazy lady did not stop. She tried to run to the door of the truck it opened, but I locked it before I shut it. And she tried repeatedly to pull on the handle while telling the police to just arrest me already. One of the officers calmed the lady down while the other ran my information. He came back after a few minutes and said everything checks out. The crazy lady looked a British word I like to use that I think can best describe the moment. Gobsmacked. She said that it can't be, and demanded the police check again. Then pulled out her phone to show more pictures of the truck. I pointed out that the man in one of the photos was the one who sold the truck to me. And I have no idea what relation the crazy lady is to him, but as the only person I bought the truck from. The police asked her who it was, and she said it was her soon-to-be ex-husband. They were going through a divorce. I pointed out when I bought the truck. Her husband's name was the only one on the title. The crazy lady yelled at me that had originally bought it for her, and it was missing one day after she came home. All I could do was shrug and say I did not know that. But her husband was the legal owner before me, and I bought the truck from him. The police told her that I was correct, and it is legally my truck now. The lady went from crazy to just very sad as she cried that it was her truck, and he sold it without her permission. I did feel sorry for the woman, and said to the police that they may want to do a wellness check on her or something. They said I was free to go and they would handle the situation from there. When I was getting ready to leave, the crazy lady yelled that she was going to follow me and find out where I live. But the two officers didn't let her do so. I left the parking lot and hightailed it on the highway out of there. I later contacted the guy who sold me the truck, and he admitted that the crazy lady is his soon-to-be ex-wife. She cheated on him for the second time, and it was the final nail in the coffin for their marriage. The truck was always in his name only, and that woman had signed a prenup when they married. So the divorce was not going in her favor. It's been months now, and that lady has not found me again. So I'm probably in the clear as long as I avoid the area I bought the truck in. Though for all I know, she's not even living there anymore since her husband divorced her. Edit. Many have pointed out the need for new plates and paint. So I've started putting money off to the side for that. Considering the heat, I may just paint the truck white, as that color is better under the sun and I like it. I've already ordered a home dent puller kit to try and undo some of the dents on the body myself. I'm not sure if I'm gonna pay to have the truck painted, or try to paint it myself. Doing it dye style sounds interesting, and I hear there's kits for buying everything you need to paint a vehicle for a little over $100 online. Either way, I should have the truck repainted and with new plates eventually. And hopefully if I ever run into the crazy lady again, she won't recognize me. Update. Not sure who will see this update. I don't think I can really make a separate post about it since it's not long and doesn't involve anyone entitled. I discussed with a friend about the crazy lady and my truck, and he suggested a home paint job using spray cans. At first I thought it was weird, but then he showed me videos of people painting cars and trucks with these big spray cans that have high pressure and a wide spray. So we went out and I bought a bunch of those tall cans of primer gray and gloss white. We took the time to PDVR remove as many dents as we could using hot glue and a slide hammer I ordered and recently got in the mail. Then sanded the truck with a rotary sander before painting it. And I have to say the results are pretty good. I spent about $100 in paint, 5 cans of primer, and 5 cans of white paint. You can't even tell it's the same truck anymore, and the white color should help with the heat where I live too. In time I'll get new plates for the truck, and then hopefully the crazy lady will never notice me again. Funny thing is that after my parents saw the truck in its new paint, I got a request to paint my dad's old car as well. He banged it up a fair bit over the last 20 years, and thought maybe a new paint job would be nice. The car was already white, so why not? He paid for the paint. My friend and I did some more PDVR, sanded the car, and gave it a fresh coat. The front seats were also pretty torn up, so my dad bought seat covers that I put on after sewing shut a few tears. My dad couldn't be happier with the end results, so I guess everything has kind of worked out for the moment. I'd like to thank everyone for all the creative advice I got in this post. It gave me new ideas, and though it's been over 2 weeks, I hope some of you see this. This is just wild. Have you considered a paint job to help conceal your truck? Yeah, I've considered new plates and either repainting or replacing the hood someday. Edited 6 mo ago. I'm not gonna use the term Karen to describe this person because I know 2 women named Karen, and they are both fantastic people. Very true. The women I know called Karen are the nicest people I know. And yet, I have known my first Karen since babyhood, and while she's slightly improved, but she was born to be a Karen in the worst ways. I spent this past summer working in retail and my manager's name was Karen. Lovely woman. Me too. Me too. That just nuts. Yeah, she seemed like she had a few screws loose, but she didn't even make the top 10 of entitled crazies I've seen in my life. She did try to physically assault me, or act like I was an employee somewhere, or try to use some form of bigotry. I've seen and heard it all. She was just sad and crazy. I honestly hope she got mental help. I was feeling some sympathy for the lady until I got to the last paragraph. It says she can go suck it, but she clearly needs help, and on a more human level I hope she gets it. And then she can suck it. Sounds like she already sucked it. Not a wild story like this one, but HubSpot, a nitro fishing boat. A real beauty. We were hundreds of miles from dealership. Fishing guy pulls alongside us, ask if certain hidden spot had scratch. It was his old boat. He had traded it in from place we bought it from. I told him all about it. Our encounter was very pleasant. Sorry yours wasn't. Well, it's a small world sometimes. You never know who you'll run into. The crazy lady looked, a British word I like to use that I think can best describe the moment. Gobsmacked. For a moment I thought you were going to use a significantly ruder British word to describe this lady, lol. I believe I know the word you are referring to, but I hear that word in Australia is pretty much what everyone calls everyone else. I think I know the word you mean, and I don't use it. I'm definitely curious about these words. Lol. Genuinely. Fill me in. Hey up, I just want to mention the fire, and how much it has affected you. I to have been through them. Australian here, and it's awful, and a major trauma to go through. I get you want to be prepared, and that's great, but please don't let it control your life. The fear is real and it takes a while to work through, but there will be a day where you feel you can unpack and live normally again. Might take a couple of years, but you will get there. Scan and cloud all your important documents. Don't have save on the actual computer. Have a bag ready to go if needed with protective clothing. Wool where possible. Face makes. To reduce smoke inhalation. Spare charger. Torch and wind-up or battery-powered radio. Include batteries, a few water bottles, etc. Also any scripts mediations you may need. If pats, food, water bowl, etc. I randomly came across the other precious of a car I bought as well, but he was cool. I bought a Mustang from a used car dealership. As I was signing the paperwork I asked why it was traded in. The lady said the previous owner wanted a Shelby. I thought what a lucky bastard. Anyway, I was leaving work, which is next to a small park that has a basketball court. As I walked up to my car I hear a guy say, "Is that your car?" I told him yeah, he said I had that car. I repeated, "You had an 6 Mustang?" As he points to the car he says yeah, that one. I then asked him what he drives now, and he pointed over to a Shelby. We then chatted for a few and said all the aftermarket work was done by his mechanic. It's been about 12 years since then and I still drive it. I'm getting older now and I'm thinking of trading it in. Sensors are going to shit and I need something more economical since my kid is getting bigger. I do love a good Mustang, especially the older ones from the 60s. Awesome cars. Wow, this is wild. Glad the police held her back. But up. Sincerely, when you have the means to do so, please consider looking into therapy. The whole story makes it sound like you are planning a lot of your life around this fear of another disaster. How is the license plate still the same? You didn't have to get a new one when changing the registration. In some states they transfer the tags over too. I live in Alaska, and unless you're looking to get vanity plates you just keep the old tags on when you register your vehicle. I wasn't required to change the plate. Just register the truck in my name. Is it that way in your state? It depends on the state. For example, in Minnesota the plates transfer with the vehicle. I don't know if it's changed since I last bought a used vehicle, but in Texas the license plate and the sticker in the window transferred over to the new owner, although now I'm curious what states require them to change. I have some sympathy for the crazy lady but not a lot. Yes, her husband bought the car for her, but it was her responsibility to see whose name it was in. Yes, her husband sold it from under her, but she had no right to demand you give the car back to her or threaten to follow you. And if she really is the cheater he said she is, then she's really racked up some negative karma. I'm not in a relationship right now, but I've always said cheating is a deal breaker for me. She was definitely a kook, but you seem to be harboring some trauma from the loss in the fire. I hope you get that fifth wheel and it helps you heal. I'm not after a fifth wheel trailer. They require a special hitch that takes up the bed of the truck. I'm looking for a moderate-sized camp trailer. I can handle one that's a little bit of a fixer-upper, as warm dry states they tend to last in. But the one I looked at that day was just rotten to the core. Lots of rust, holes in the floor, rotten walls. It would have been a rebuild job. And yes, I won't argue the fires were traumatic to me, but I'd rather be prepared than not. The world isn't exactly getting better right now. We could have another year just like 2020 at any time.